So hi everyone, welcome to Morningstar virtually. Thank you all for coming today. My name's Dana. I'll kind of be bringing you through a little bit about Morningstar and a little bit about our MDP program and our internship programs as well. I actually started at Morningstar in July, so very recently, and I am within the MDP program currently working as a customer support rep for our flagship product, Direct. And I can kind of just go ahead and jump into exactly what we do at Morningstar. So we are an ambitious, creative, and entrepreneurial group, really driven by our passion to help investors. We offer an extensive line of products and services for individual investors, financial advisors, asset managers, retirement plan providers and sponsors, and institutional investors in the private capital markets. And that's something I didn't really know when I was in school. I knew about Morningstar.com and a few of their other products, but I didn't know kind of the extensive line of like Direct, Office, AWS that we offer. Which I always thought was cool when I came to this presentation as a college senior as well. We provide data and research insights on a wide range of investment offerings, including managed investment products, publicly listed companies, private capital markets, and real-time global market data. Morningstar also offers investment management services through our investment advisory subsidiaries. All right. This slide actually is slightly outdated. So right now we're sitting more around like 7,000 plus employees because of our recent acquisition of Sustainalytics. We operate in 27 countries worldwide. You can kind of see the bigger countries with in the bubbles there. Our biggest offices are in Chicago, Mumbai, Shenzhen, London, Madrid, Sydney, and we also have a large office in New York. We are headquartered in Chicago. However, our largest office in terms of number of employees is actually in Mumbai. All right. And going a little bit into Morningstar's mission, our mission really guides everything that we do here, and that is to empower investor success. And I can see this mission in my day to day. Everything that I do throughout the day is to empower investor success. So, and we kind of shortened the number of words of our mission recently to expand the scope of it. So this now includes private equity, institutional investors, advisors, and all of our clients, whereas before it was kind of geared towards just individual investors because that was our historical breadbasket. However, as Morningstar has expanded and grew as a company, we wanted to get a clear, short, to the point mission that really encompasses all of Morningstar. All right. And going a little bit into our values here. So we have a set of 6 core values that lie at the heart of everything we do. We use these core values to formulate our strategies, guide our business decisions, and we really expect every single employee to embrace and embody these values throughout the entire course of business each and every day. Our first value is investors first. And this kind of goes along with our mission as well. You know, if investors aren't first, what really are we working towards? We want to hire people who are on board with this mission, who wear investors on their sleeve, have that mentality. And Morningstar's strength comes largely from the faith and trust investors have in us to provide independent and transparent data and research. Next, we have great products. So by excelling in research, design, and technology, we really strive to create industry-defining products that will put our clients above their competition. And our products, we want them to be insightful, innovative, beautiful, useful, and the service that we provide, especially coming in as an MDP, should be just as great as the products that we create. Next, and one value that I've seen from my short time here is great people. Everybody you meet at Morningstar is going to be so helpful, so willing to listen to you, provide career insight and tips on just kind of like every day to day. We really want to hire people who are smart, hardworking, curious, creative, and passionate about their work. And in my experience, Morningstar has done an amazing job of that. Um, we really encourage employees to learn and grow throughout their careers and to recognize that every person here matters and contributes to our success. We really go out of our way to attract, retain, challenge, and reward these great people as well. Next, we have uncompromising ethics. So we kind of have a high standard of ethics, and we draw a line in the sand, and we meet that standard each day. So Morningstar is successful because our investors trust us, because we have this high standard of ethics, and we always want to approach our work with absolute integrity and independence. We expect all employees to adhere to the highest ethical standards at all times, even if that costs us business. And one thing that's really interesting, especially when you first start as an MDP, everybody will meet with our CEO, Kunal. And one of the first things that he tells us is that if we ever see anybody acting outside of this high ethical standard that we set, that we should reach out to him directly, which is kind of scary coming into a new company right out of college and hearing that you can reach out to the CEO just one-on-one. However, like that just kind of goes to show how important that is to our business. And next we have entrepreneurial spirit. And even as we grow as a company, we still show that entrepreneurial spirit. If you ever have an idea, no matter how young or old or new or like tenured you are, you just want to let it fly. Everyone is so willing to listen, willing to hear you out. And oftentimes you can go ahead and make that idea a reality. And lastly, last but not least, we have financial success. And we really believe that when we pursue our mission of creating great products that help investors, financial success will follow. This really allows us to reinvest in our business, build long-term shareholder value, and further our work of helping investors. All right, and going a little bit into Morningstar's history. So Morningstar was founded in 1984 from a man named Joe Mansueto. Joe grew up in a small town of Indiana. He attended the University of Chicago for his undergraduate degree as well as his master's degree. And this picture actually shows his ID from the early 80s, I believe. And Joe really embodied that entrepreneurial spirit that I talked about in our core values. He actually ran a few businesses in college. You know, when I was in college, I always kind of had a little idea to maybe start a smoothie stand after they shut down one of our dining halls, but I never really acted on it. However, Joe, he actually sold soda out of his dorm room, and then he used the money that he earned selling soda to rent out a vacant lot in a Chicago neighborhood named Hyde Park. And he sold Christmas trees during the winter. And he did all of this while maintaining great grades at a really rigorous school at University of Chicago, which is awesome. And it really just kind of goes to show where the entrepreneurial spirit of Morningstar kind of came from. All right, and feel free to unmute yourself here. Does anybody know who this man is? It is not Joe. If not, it's totally okay.
Warren Buffett.
Yes, awesome, Alex. This is Warren Buffett, and his methodologies really kind of sparked Morningstar. So after Joe left University of Chicago, he became an equity analyst at a company called Harris Associates. And this is where he encountered Buffett's methodologies. He thought that his equity methodologies were extremely rigorous, all-encompassing. Joe didn't quite understand why these methodologies were only available for equities and not other securities, such as mutual funds. And so Morningstar was born. He wanted to bring the same kind of rigor and fundamental analysis to outside stocks and mutual funds. So he started Morningstar when he was 27 years old with only $80,000. Some of Morningstar's first products was actually just this large binder, kind of looking like one that I brought to like second grade, a little bit nicer, and it was just full of pages on pages of Excel spreadsheets. And he went around from company to company and he sold this binder as hard data. Um, he actually named the company Morningstar after being inspired by Henry David Thoreau's book Walden, if any of you are familiar with it. The last line of the book reads, "The sun is but a morning star." And this book was kind of about dear ideas of thrift and deliberation and independence, which kind of goes along with a lot of Morningstar's values as well. And in this photo here, you can actually see that binder. That was Morningstar's first product, which is crazy to think that this one little binder, or large binder, I guess you could say, and little idea kind of really grew into the global company of leading independent research that Morningstar is today. All right, and now I'm going to transfer over and talk a little bit about Morningstar's strategy. So thinking about our strategy, we can kind of think of it in three different layers. First would be research, and then data, and then kind of transforming that into information that we can put into our products. So here you can see in the middle, the 5-star rating that kind of symbolizes the research that Morningstar does at level 1. And this research methodology really upholds our independence. And then we have data, which would be level 2. For example, almost all the data that you see on Yahoo Finance is from Morningstar. And then lastly, we have the ratings that we produce. And it's kind of what we think of all the data and what our clients ultimately come to us for. And this is why the trust piece is so important. All right. And then let's see here. On the left here, where you see the Develop Morningstar Direct and Pitch Book, those are kind of two of our big flagship products. And on the right, where you see the investment management, that's also another side of Morningstar, where we call it MIM, where advisors kind of outsource some of the portfolios that they manage to us. And we can either manage the entire portfolio or just take little of it in order for them to build a better relationship with their clients. And below in the 5 box that you see, those are actually our 5 clients. So we serve advisors, asset managers, workplace and retirement like 401ks, individual investors, which is kind of like our historical breadbasket. As you can see, it's by far our largest at 10 million, and also the institutional investor. All right. And one of our goals at Morningstar is to make financial information really digestible for our end clients. Morningstar is filled with really smart and creative researchers and data analysts who are kind of sifting through financial information day in and day out in order to identify trends and patterns within the financial scope. And then we develop these ratings, which we share with investors to hopefully help them build a more holistic and successful portfolio. We deliver this research and ratings through a variety of different products and investment management business. Here you can see some of our proprietary ratings that we've created over the years. And one of our goals is to make it really kind of easy to understand, even just for the day-to-day person who may not have a finance or investing background. So first, you can see our 5-star rating as well as our Morningstar analyst rating. I always like to say, like, if you have been to the movies or you watch the Olympics, you're gonna understand what these ratings mean. 5 stars is better than 2 stars, gold is better than bronze. And in the same way, up here on our left, this is our economic moat rating, and this was largely based off of Warren Buffett's methodologies. Over here, we have our equity style box. Down here, these are just icons for all of our sectors. And here we have our new Morningstar sustainability rating, which has become much more popular, especially since the acquisition of Sustainalytics. All right. And kind of talking about our ESG and sustainability research, we conduct leading edge research in a lot of areas. However, we launched a Morningstar sustainability rating for funds to help investors evaluate mutual funds and exchange traded funds based on how well the companies held in their funds or managing their environmental, social, and governance, also known as ESG, risks and opportunities. Um, and here are just some of our thought leadership pieces that we've published on sustainability. As you can see, they all kind of follow the same color scheme, a little bit of the same sort of simple designs. And we actually have great designers here at Morningstar um, who came up with all of these designs in order for somebody to easily identify a Morningstar piece. And that way, as soon as you see these designs, this color scheme, they can identify that it's Morningstar and know that it is credible, independent, and thoughtful research, and that they are able to trust it. All right, and these are just a few of our products here. So in the front, we have our Morningstar Direct. To the right, we have our retirement plan, and to the left, we have Morningstar.com, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. Um, you know, one of our primary innovations overall is to make financial information more digestible and approachable to investors. And kind of going off what I just previously said, you can see how the color scheme of these is really similar, especially in the front. You can see that each of the different sections is has a specific color to it. That way you can, all the portfolios are a little bit more identifiable as Morningstar. All right, and here you can take a little break from me talking and watch a virtual office tour. So here is actually the 14th floor of our building. It is award winning. It was created in 2008, I believe. And let me pull up the office tour really quickly. I'm gonna share my computer sound with you all. Let me know if you can't see or hear the video. All right. Were we able to see and hear that? Yeah, all right.
Yeah, perfect.
Awesome. So if you couldn't tell from that video, our office is awesome. Unfortunately, since I started in July, I haven't had the opportunity to actually work there. However, I have been there for a few interviews and whatnot, and I can't wait to go back, hopefully very soon too. So, all right, a little bit going into life at Morningstar. Going back to kind of one of our values, great people, we really want people who are smart, hardworking, curious, creative, and our people represent different backgrounds and experiences, and we want every person at Morningstar to feel heard, fairly treated, and safe to make their full contribution. This is one thing that you will hear all the time here is that everybody loves Morningstar for many reasons, but one of the main reasons is because of the great people and their great coworkers. And here are just some photos of kind of the day-to-day life at Morningstar. Um, Here you can see one of our collab rooms. There's actually no chairs, which it's kind of like a standing collaboration room. And for the workspace and collaborative nature. This is kind of the hallmark of our brand and our mission, and to create transparency for our investors and for the people all the way down to how we work. There are no corner offices, no walls creating barriers to sharing new ideas or collaborating. Someone on our leadership team will have very similar to desk to myself as an MDP. Here you can see our patio outside, and this is one of the main things that kind of immediately drew me to Morningstar as soon as I walked into the office was how awesome the patio looked. A lot of people have meetings out there. You can eat lunch out there. You can just bring your work out there if you want to get away from your desk and enjoy some fresh air in the summer. We have a lot of patio parties, and this is a photo of one of our annual company holiday parties. It looks a little bit weird to look at now considering everything going on. However, Morningstar has done a great job of creating a lot of virtual like happy hours and events as well. And here, this is actually a photo of our senior leaders serving employees at one of our company holidays to really thank them for all the great work that they do. And this is a photo of a lot of our employees participating in the JP Morgan Corporate Chase Challenge. There's a lot of opportunities at Morningstar to really volunteer and give back to your community, which I think is an amazing aspect. And anyone is welcome to join. All right. And this kind of just goes to show our culture. So our culture has been recognized from external auditing agencies for the past like 5+ years. We've been voted for top 25 companies for work-life balance, a great place to work for the past 3 to 4 years, and we are actually just voted again for this past year, which is awesome. We are all really proud of our culture at Morningstar. And here is another slide just kind of showing how our culture really encompasses a global impact. And in all of our offices worldwide, you can see our culture at hand. All right, so that kind of concludes the About Morningstar section, and I can head right into talking about the Morningstar Development Program and our internship. Does anyone have any questions just about kind of like our history and our culture?
Hi, my name's Caitlin, and I just have a quick question about
Yeah.
your culture as well. Could you kind of show me or like tell me about more examples that kind of show your culture in your day-to-day life? I know you said that it's there, but I was just wondering if you had any examples.
Yeah, for sure. So I started in July, so we were working virtually. So I unfortunately haven't really experienced any of the company parties or anything like that, especially during this time. However, within the first week, our culture team, or our, HR team, they really created a lot of opportunities for all of the new people to meet and network with senior leadership groups all the way down to current MDPs that had started a month before or graduated MDPs. There's always a lot of networking opportunities. We have happy hours almost every week, virtual happy hours that is, and we've actually even had a few in-person happy hours, social distance outside by the lake, which have been really fun. And even as an MDP, one day I had a call and it was with an internal Morningstar employee, and he went out of his way to really kind of welcome me to the company, and he offered to have a coffee chat with me. He offered to really give me advice, kind of gave me a few lessons on how to succeed at Morningstar, which kind of just encompasses the great people as a whole here at Morningstar, and I think really is an end-all be-all of our culture, and just kind of shows how happy everyone is to either sit down and just get to know you or to really offer a helping hand.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hi, I also have a quick question.
Sure.
Can you please share some details about like the works of working as a research analyst or the work of working in a data department? Or like
Um,
what a typical day of them like?
Yeah, for sure. So we're actually going to have some panelists come in at the end of the presentation as well, who I think may be more adept to answer that question for you. And I believe our next few slides will kind of help as well with kind of showing you what the Morningstar Development Program will be like and our internship program as well. If you don't mind just waiting a little bit for the answer for that question.
Yeah, sure, thank you.
All right, yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
we'll go through the MDP program now, and then definitely our panelists will be able to talk about their like day-to-day. We have people from both like the tech side, the data side, and the research side that are about to pop in.
Awesome. So I will go ahead and head right into our next few slides. So first I'll talk about the Morningstar Development Program and kind of the history and the mission. So the Morningstar Development Program really fosters career development in young professionals and better supports Morningstar's future by enhancing our talent pipeline. We want to hire people who will stay in the company. So we launched this program in 2002. The program has tunneled great people into our organization for 20 years. And today there are over 160 MDPs in the program. It's really a great, tight-knit community to be in. It's kind of awesome because you'll come in with a lot of young people who are in the same boat as you are, especially like just graduating from school or have graduated in the past like year or two. And MDPs spread their talent across the entire organization, from roles in client support to data to research, marketing, software development, analytics, talent and culture, operations, and more. Coming in as an MDP, a lot of times you will start in the support role. However, you have freedom to really go into any role that you'd like when the opportunity arises. So these are a few core competencies that will definitely make you successful in the MDP role: communication, creative thinking, problem solving, learning agility, adaptability, teamwork, initiative, and character and grit. However, these skills you will also develop when you get here. I always thought I was an awesome problem solver, and then I got here and I think I've already improved tenfold in the past 2 months that I've been working. All right, and a little bit about the program. So there's 2 tracks to the program. There's the technology track and the business track. For the business track, you will become a product expert. You'll build a relationship with clients and kind of understand our broad client base and breadth of products and research. Whereas you will become an associate software engineer going through the technology track. The program lasts about 2 years, and you will often come in. Your first role will be a support rep for most people. Some people, you'll come in as in a different role. However, and then you'll stay in there for approximately 9 to 12 months, and then you'll be able to rotate out into another position as well. All right. And while in any role during the program, you can participate in stretch projects, which are offered in different areas of the business. These are kind of small projects that teams will bring out to you and you can apply to do. So this really allows you to get a sense of which career path you may want to go in, kind of get a sense of what different teams of Morningstar are doing, and kind of you're able to really participate in them and provide a helping hand to all the teams. And then in either track, so after your first role, you're able to interview for the other roles that you're interested in. And this is one thing that's really kind of honed in, is that this isn't a rotational program. This is, you come in as a MDP, you have your first role, and then you get to interview for the other roles. It's not just kind of like you're given another role, but that's awesome because one, you're able to practice your interview skills, and 2, all the stretch projects, coffee chats, lunch and learns, they really help you prepare for those interviews, and you can network going into your interview and prepare to enter your next role. And like I just said, like lunch and learns, coffee chats. We also have our mentorship program, networking outings, and social events which would really help build your network and build relationships with employees all across Morningstar. And these are a few of just kind of our MDP events. So you can see that we went to a Cubs game. We did like an axe throwing event. And there's just a lot of fun things that we are able to do within the program that really help with kind of coming out of college and going straight into a job, as well as networking and finding exactly what you may want to in the future rotate into. You know, you don't have to come into the MDP program with a specific track in mind. However, if you do, that is awesome, and you can definitely follow your career goals. And going a little bit into the summer internship program. So the summer internship program is an immersive 10-week program during which summer interns will get an introduction to investment research industry and what it's really like to work at Morningstar. So the program follows a 80-20 model. So 80 of the time you will be spent working with your team, and you will be assigned a team across the business according to like business needs at that moment. And there you can attend team meetings, assist with projects, work on individual projects. And then 20% of the time you will spend collaborating with your colleagues to work on kind of a group case study based on Morningstar's need. So I believe last summer it was based on our ESG ratings and kind of creating a more sustainable workplace. All right. And within the summer internship program, just like the MDP program, you will have an opportunity to really network and expand your relationships with people in Morningstar. So you'll be able to participate in the lunch and learns, coffee chats with people all over the business, as well as the network outings and social events with different people in your intern class. And the internship program actually acts as one of the strongest pipelines into the MDP program for over 4 years now. Once you are finished with your internship program, you'll have the opportunity to interview to become an MDP for a full-time role at Morningstar, which is an awesome opportunity and kind of a great way to really get ahead of the ball and interview for that MDP role. All right, well, that concludes the presentation. Thank you all for listening, and then I can answer any questions. I'm not sure if the panelists are in yet.
Yep, our panelists are here. So if the panelists want to introduce themselves to start out and share their screen so we can all see your guys' lovely faces. Let's see. Will, do you want to introduce yourself first?
Yeah, I can start. All right, morning, everyone. My name is Will. Let's see. I currently work as an associate equity analyst in the equity research department at Morningstar. I've been at Morningstar since last July. Graduated from University of Wisconsin with majors in econ and French. And speaking of the summer internship, I also interned at Morningstar the summer before my senior year. So interned and then went into the MDP.
Awesome. Haley, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sorry, my Wi-Fi keeps cutting in and out, so if I unexpectedly dip, that's why. But so I'm Haley. I am just rounding out my second year as an MDP. I started as a customer support representative, and I did search projects with equity and manager research, and then I also worked a little bit as a customer success manager, and then after that, I rotated into investment management. So right now I'm working as an investment analyst working on our multi-asset portfolios. So Morningstar has a suite of mutual funds, and right now I'm working on those. And then, yeah, like a little background is I was also a summer intern like Will, and I went to Northwestern where I studied economics and psychology.
Awesome. Daniel?
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm Daniel. I actually graduated from Davidson in 2020 in May with economics and Chinese, and I just started at Morningstar. I think this is my third week. and I started on the data and development team. So yeah.
Awesome.
And
And
I can
Darren, yeah.
introduce myself. I'm Darren. I went to Bard College, so similarly liberal artsy, very small, and I'm a tech MDP. And I started about the same time as Haley, so 2018 fall, September. Am I disconnected?
Nope, I think you're good.
Okay.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to ask questions of our panelists, I know Marshall had a question that if you want to ask that again, that would be good for these guys to answer.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what is a typical day like for research analyst and for working in data department? Thank you.
I can take the data part. Maybe Will can take the research part. So I just started like 3 weeks ago, and I've slowly been kind of doing orientation into the data team. But basically, like what I'm working on right now is we're doing 529 audits. So every September, the data team will do audits on like college savings plans. And so we've been doing like a lot of client-facing work, reaching out to clients and doing audits. That's basically been my first project, and going, I mean, so our data team is a big part of it is in Shenzhen. And so we also work, like we're 12 hours difference with Shenzhen. So during the day, sometimes we'll work on some projects that Shenzhen has been working on while we've been asleep. So that's been really fun collaborating with them. But yeah, I can't like speak too much to that because I've only been on the team for 3 weeks. But yeah, I hope that helps.
Yeah, and in terms of research, definitely kind of my job in the equity department will be different than Haley's job in the investment management department. So maybe we can both go quickly here to make sure we address your question. But I'd say broad overview in the equity research department. So I'm an associate, which is kind of like the junior level, but then the level right above me is analysts. So each of the analysts in the department cover 18 to 20 companies, and they're essentially wholly responsible for being like an expert on those companies, building out a model and setting like a fair value estimate for them. So putting our Morningstar star rating on the stock. And then just like writing reports. They follow the company every quarter as they report earnings. And they also get to work on longer term kind of in between those quarterly earnings, like research reports and stuff like that. So it's a lot of writing, a lot of Excel modeling, but essentially like becoming like an expert on those companies. And so then where I get to kind of assist is kind of, again, that kind of junior level of associate, is that pretty much anyone on my team. So I'm on the technology team. So we cover all like the technology stocks. That needs help maybe with like a quarterly earnings note or wants to outsource maybe like a few pages of one of their research reports, then they'll come to the associates, so i.e. me on the team, and then I get to essentially help out across the team with whatever people need help with. So that's kind of the role of an analyst, but the nice part of being an associate is that I kind of get to dip my toes into all these different buckets of what an analyst might do, so you kind of get to emulate the job before trying to kind of go up and get the job. But I'll let Haley talk about investment too.
Yeah, so investment management is a little bit different. There are three main branches. So there's capital markets and asset allocation. And so that's like a lot of the research and a lot of the models that they build their expectations on. And so then my program is that I'm rotating through all three. So when you start there, you do a lot of research, you're updating models. It works a lot on like a monthly cyclical basis as you update the models every month. And so that's kind of like just supporting the team and doing some individual research as you become a bit more tenured. The multi-asset team is working on the Morningstar mutual fund. So thing from working with sub-advisors to doing ETF searches, just supporting the mutual funds in the way possible, especially or like providing updates to clients, especially during the market volatility. So that one's kind of like you have like goals that you have to achieve by like a certain date, but it's not like as the same periodic process. And then there's also a select equity team. So they have separate accounts that manage just equity. And they're working on portfolios, as well as doing due diligence on the stocks that they've selected, making sure that they meet the requirements for investment, and going through those portfolios. So depending on which team, it can look a lot different, but yeah, they're all like kind of their own unique part, but they all work together to like serve investors, whether that be through mutual funds or through separate account portfolios.
Thank you very much. That definitely helps.
I have another question for each of you guys, or anyone can answer this, is why did you choose to work at Morningstar, and what's your favorite part of working there?
I can go ahead and grab that question. So I, like, when I was looking for a summer internship before my senior, like for the summer before my senior year, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I had done a lot of research in college, and like a lot of people from my major, from my track, had gone, like they would go into consulting or marketing. And so what I didn't like about consulting and marketing was that I felt very like you package a product, you package a research analysis, and then you give it to the client. You don't really see it through. And what I liked about Morningstar is that they always have like the end investor kind of in the back of their mind. So whether you be on data or your client support representative, you're always like working with the client, like trying to improve your process, trying to improve your products. It's very like agile based. And so I kind of got that sense when I was looking for an internship. So when I was an intern, I had the opportunity to talk to a lot of different MVPs as well as people in the company. And you kind of just got the sense that everybody loved what they were doing and they loved Morningstar. Um, I like talked to like the head of manager research, and she had just like a passion for Morningstar and passion for like fund manage or like manager research. And like I talked to the head of equity research, and she just loved equity research and loved it at Morningstar. So you kind of got this sense that people really, really liked what they were doing, coupled with the fact that they would take 30 minutes out of their day to meet with me, just a lowly intern. And I think that people are really what sold it, because again, they were like open to having a coffee chat, open to sending me book recommendations, like following up. The culture is like definitely a major seller of Morningstar. I think it's one of the key tenets is great people, and you can definitely see that, and that's something that they really pride themselves on. And yeah, like they're just really excited about what they do, excited about helping end investors, and like excited about growing talent from within. So that's what sold me on Morningstar.
If I can jump in there too, I completely agree with everything Haley said. And again, like I was an intern too, so that was the exact same experience I had when I interned. But I'd say the additional thing that I think is one of the best things that Morningstar does, especially for like the MDP and like the young people in the company, is that Morningstar invests a lot in like your personal development or like our personal development. And like way more than I would have expected. So like one way is that like everyone in the company gets like $1,000 like education stipend every calendar year, and so you can use that to like attend like a conference that you want to attend, or like take an online course, or I use it to buy just like a ton of books. And you can also use it if you're like going to take like a CFA exam or something like that to buy like the prep book. So that's where pretty much my entire one has gone to. So that's like a really cool way. But then just in general, it's like, I think the MDP program is really about kind of trying to maximize the potential of kind of everyone in that. So whether it's through that education stipend, or whether it's through, if you're driven and really want to take that CFA exam, like I said, like you can use the stipend for your books, but Morningstar will pay for like your registration fee, which can be like $1,000. So and that's not the only thing, you know, that's kind of in my world, the CFA. So that's what I know, but I know they do similar objectives for kind of different certifications like that around the different business units. So I'd say like no matter how you want to kind of develop yourself and like progress in your career, you'll find a lot of resources at Morningstar, and then B, kind of like Haley was talking about, like anyone you talk to, like the people are going to be extraordinarily helpful. And you know, even when I've had coffee chats with someone I've never met before and that's kind of high up and it's a little scary to talk to them, like they give you great career advice just kind of offhand and stuff like that. So they really invest a lot in kind of developing you as a young professional, I would say.
I would add to that just that Morningstar is like even in the 3 weeks that I've been here, like again, the people was basically the seller for me. But something to add to something about the people is our culture is like pretty flat, and so a lot of us like the CEO spoke to all of the September MDPs. Last week, I was in the office and he walked by and he said hi. There's no corner offices. And so like the culture is really flat, and that's just like makes everything a lot, a lot better in my opinion. And, also just a lot more, I wouldn't use the word relaxing, but just not so tense. So yeah, and if it's not tense, then there's a lot more support. So yeah, I felt extremely supported, and that's been amazing.
I can speak to my experience. I don't know if we have any tech applicants, but as a technologist, I was actually very interested in Morningstar's really um, wide breadth of both technologies and opportunities. For those not as well versed in Morningstar's tech side, as compared to other companies, for better or for worse, we use 100 different technologies. So many companies will say, okay, we're just going to use this one front end framework. In Morningstar, a team goes, oh, we think that the best thing for us is this one, even if another team uses another one. So sometimes it can be really hard to talk to each other, but technology wise, like tool wise, but it does mean that, there is a tool for you out there. And I was very interested in that, along with what everyone else said about culture. I don't think I can add too much to that because, their words ring true.
I think my computer is a little frozen here, but if people don't have any other immediate questions, I think Will brought up a good point, which is the educational stipend. So maybe the panelists could talk to what they've spent theirs on in the past.
Yeah, so like Will, I spent mine on CFA books, super exciting. And then also just kind of general books. So I bought some about like leadership, I bought some about like finance and investing. And then also what I was planning on doing like this year is I'm gonna like do some online courses to learn SQL and Python. Just because like I don't have a background, but a lot of like the research that I do at Morningstar can be like heavily improved by just quick like macros or simple processes in Excel. So yeah, not like the most exciting, but exciting for me.
I think that's exciting, Haley, but that comes from a nerd who works with SQL and Python.
Thanks, Darren.
Yeah, and just as another example, I can say I spent mine on like a public speaking class. It was about like professional development in public speaking. And then one of my friends spent hers on like an improv class at Second City. So if you can make the case that it'll improve your professional development, and in that case, it was like speaking to public speaking, she got to take that um, class at Second City, which was really cool.
Yeah, and I guess I'll also just say like you can get like a Wall Street Journal subscription through it. Like I think like Wall Street Journal, Economist, and like Financial Times subscriptions through it too. So you can really just maximize your reading through that stipend. Honestly, it's very nice.
I have another question, if that's okay. So I know you guys have definitely talked about different opportunities for those of you that are kind of past the MDB program, but could you describe or like kind of talk about if you have a formal career ladder as a way to kind of determine what career routes that you could go after the MDB program?
You mean the business side, right? Because I'm happy to chime in, but I don't know if I can.
Either's
Do you have a
fine,
specific side?
but yeah, I would probably prefer business, but honestly, it's
Right.
totally fine if you want to also talk.
They are very different between each other is the only reason I'm
Okay.
asking.
And do you
Yeah.
mean like if you're doing like a track versus not a track?
Yeah, either, honestly. Really just kind of what are the ways that you can like grow professionally and the different roles you can take after the MDP program.
I think Haley or Daniel, I didn't go into the first placement, so it might be a little bit more.
Yeah, sure. I
better
mean,
from
I can
y'all.
talk to that definitely. I think so the way that they structure is that you like if you're in a track, you start directly in the track. So that's kind of like a newer thing in the past few years, but if you're not in the track, then usually you'll start as a client support representative. Daniel's a bit special because he started in data. But usually what you do is you start as a client support representative. And I think they're saying like 9 to 12 months for like new applicants to kind of expect that going in. And in those 9 to 12 months, you're working as a client support representative, but you're supposed to be exploring different avenues and different like careers that you're interested, whether that be setting up coffee chats, kind of like working on stretch projects, working on projects with that team, networking, and kind of sussing out what you think would be interesting for a career path. And then usually you'll rotate into a second role, and it depends on the person completely. So you can stay in that role for your entire time at Morningstar. That's usually not the case. However, you'll see like a lot of people will start in their second role, will take on new responsibilities either within that team as their career progresses, or maybe they'll start in a second role, work there for a year or two, and then go into a different one. So the thing that's nice about Morningstar is it's very like fluid, and you can make career changes as you see fit. It's not like someone says, oh, you rotated into this role, that's the role you'll have to stay. You do see like a lot of people bouncing around between teams, like trying out different projects if they think something's interesting. Like for example, on my team, a lot of people started as manager research analysts and then kind of wanted to do it themselves. So they rotated into, or they moved into investment management. And you also see a lot of people like being manager, like this is a prime example. Manager research, one of the people who worked there were like, oh, I think this could be easily quantified, and I think it's really interesting what we're doing, but I think you could have like someone generate these ratings. And they're like, okay, like why don't you try? And then he developed quantitative research. So it's like very much kind of as you grow, and it's very agile. So like if you come up with a new idea, they give you a lot of leeway to run with it, and as long as it doesn't interfere with your like day to day, I find that most managers are very accommodating to helping you grow and like grow outside maybe your role. But yeah, there's a lot of like people changing, whether that be like heads of groups or like people in the C-suite, or that be like just an MDP.
Great, thank you.
I would say like from in terms of data, like kind of I didn't go into like the customer support, but in data, it's like pretty similar. Like after you've been in the role, like I'm an associate. So after I've been an associate, like kind of 9 to 12 months, after my start date, you and your manager will start discussing kind of maybe your next role within data, or if they think like maybe you might be interested in another department. But we, have these like I forgot what we exactly call them, but basically when you become like you're either a learner, practitioner, or teacher in like your specific areas, and kind of your ability and knowledge basically determines how you move along. But there's like a ton of options for mobility. And so yeah, I would say that's another thing that's really amazing about Morningstar. So yeah.
I would add to like Daniel and I have both kind of talked about how we're in associate roles, and you'll kind of find, I don't know if it's the entire company, but like a lot of departments, excuse me, like the associate roles are kind of like that entry level jumping point from your first placement in the program. And then I think really within each department, then there's a relatively clear ladder in that sense of like, usually once you just kind of lop the associate off your name, that's kind of the next step up from associate. And then like I know in equity research, it's like associate to analyst and then to senior analyst and stuff like that. But by no means, like once you're in your second placement after kind of the customer support role, like you don't have to stay there and you're not locked into kind of that career ladder. Like people at all parts of their careers in Morningstar, from even if you're going from your second to your third placement in the MDP, or even like I know 40-year-olds that have switched departments and then switched back. So yeah, there's a lot of horizontal and vertical, I guess, like flexibility of your movement there. But I'd say like it is a relatively straightforward like ladder of where you can see where you could go in that department. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just add on to that. I know Dana touched on this when she was talking about the Morningstar Development Program, but it's not a rotational program in the sense that like when the 2 years are over, you're done rotating. Like it's really there to provide a lot of support. Like she said, we do all these like workshops and get-togethers, and there's just a lot of like I would say career developmental support within the first 2 years, but it doesn't mean that you're like done rotating when those 2 years are over. And you can also move around between departments for sure. And I think like Will summed it up really well. There's a pretty clear ladder within a department, but that doesn't mean you can't like bounce around and try out different roles.
Thank you.
Any last minute questions? We have 2 more minutes left. Well, if not, we can wrap it up. Thank you so much to our panelists for coming to speak, and for Davidson for having us. It was really nice to connect with all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, I just
Thanks,
want to,
everyone.
yeah, thank you so much, Morningstar, for coming and doing this. We really appreciate it.
Thanks. And if anyone has any further questions, I know Lindsay has my contact information, so she can provide that to you. And our application for the internship and for both the Morningstar Development Program Business Track and Tech Track is open right now on morningstar.com/careers. And feel free to reach out to Lindsay or to myself if you have more questions on that. And I can connect you with any panelists if you want to speak to them further as well. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Great day,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.